Welcome to today's live stream. I'm super excited to welcome you here today. Before we get started and get into the really for real live, this is obviously a pre-recorded video where I can tell you a couple things and then we can get started. So honestly, what I'm doing is buying myself time to turn the camera on and make sure that everything sounds good. But while we do that, while we wait for myself, let's go ahead and comment below. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Maybe let's start with your name and where you're watching from. And then also I'd love to hear about maybe the latest project you're working on or your favorite software. So if you can post a link below, go ahead and post a link to your portfolio. We'd love to check it out and see what you're up to. And maybe even let us know what your favorite software is, or maybe your favorite subject. Do you like web design or print design or making t-shirts or logos or branding? I don't know. Go ahead and comment below and let us know. We'd love to check it out. And then also, if you'd love to see what I'm up to, you can check out my work at derekmitchell.com. You can see some YouTube videos at youtube.com/DerekMitchell. And then also live streaming at behance.net/Mitchell's Garage. So you can check me out there. And then did I say Instagram? I don't know if I said Instagram yet or not. Instagram.com/DMitchellDesign. So hopefully there's links and buttons and stuff here. Right there. Anyway, all right, guys, we're about to dive into some really cool stuff. Feel free to comment in the thread, and I'd love to, again, see what you're up to, and I'll try and answer your questions as we get going, but let's go ahead and dive in. Today's video is sponsored by the Graphic Design Bootcamp. If you're looking at becoming a graphic designer and you want to learn more about Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign, creating real-world projects that clients would actually pay you for things like logos, business cards, letterhead, and much more. Check out the link below for more information and a deep discount to get started today. One last thing I was going to mention too, because I don't know how much time I'm going to need to turn all this on. Maybe it's ready to go and, you know, the real me, the live me can just cut this off and we can get to it. But in case I need a little bit more time, let me just tell you about myself. So my name is Derek Mitchell. We've been over that. Also, I live in Montana, in Kalispell, Montana, actually, which is just outside of Glacier National Park. And I've got 4 daughters and a wife, and we have tons of fun doing outdoor things like riding bicycles. We float the river on our paddle boards. That's a ton of fun. I love to downhill mountain bike. That's a ton of fun. When it snows for like 9 months out of the year, we like to go snowboarding and skiing. So I feel like I'm rambling. So at any point, Derek, just go ahead and just, you know, let's do this. Let's get live. Let's start teaching. What is going on, Miles? My dog just came to say hello. Hi, Miles. You want to say hello to the people? Come here. Come here. Come say hi. This is Miles, my poodle. We're working on his mohawk. Oh, thanks. Kisses. Oh. What's up, everybody? What's up? Is it Lejean? Lejean. I see you over on Behance. Thanks for tuning in. All right, let's do this. I love that video. I don't want to cut it off, but we got to get to it tonight. It's going to be a light one if I don't jump in. So also super excited to make a new intro video because that one's been running for a while and it's now fall. Feels like it's going right into winter here in Montana. It's been 14 degrees overnight. Got some snow today. Didn't stick around, but it still snowed. So that's exciting. Looks like the feed, is the feed in sync? Let me know if the audio is in sync with the video. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna have some fun. I'm going all out. It's a little bit ridiculous here on my desk. So I've got my iPad, I've got my phone ready to go. I've got some markers, and I grabbed a napkin and a sheet of paper. So what we're gonna do, the hope is that we are going to be able to jump in with the iPad, do some logo sketching, use some of these materials here, like the piece of paper, napkin, whatever, and create a signature logo. So a signature logo is much like this guy right here, this intro that I have, where you take a Sharpie or a marker or pen or pencil or whatever you want, and you draw your signature or text or whatever, and then turn that into a vector logo, basically. So that's what we're going for. So it's based on yesterday's stream. We had a lot of people in the chat asking lots of questions. So tonight is kind of the same. Not that I don't have anything planned. I kind of have this planned. I mean, obviously, as far as I have a direction, but if you guys have questions, I'd love to answer your questions. So just double checking a couple things on the stream to make sure we're in good shape as we go here. Looks like we're good. How's the music levels? Is it too loud? Let me know. What's up, Heaven Holmes, Vietnam? I see you. And Behance, thanks for the chat. So I think we're just going to get into it. And I'm not really sure which way I want to start yet. So we're going to do some of this on the iPad. Some of the hand-drawn stuff we'll do here on Illustrator. Gosh, I think what we're going to do... I'll make some space here. I think we're going to start with the... Oh, geez. Let's move this around. Okay. I think we'll start by kind of playing around with like a napkin, because I want to show you that it's possible, like on anything. So let's see. Let's see. What word? I could just do my signature, like the logo that I kind of came up with, as a couple options. So I'll just do a couple different things here. So there's one version. Let's try another one. I hope I don't Sharpie. I hope this doesn't go through the napkin. Here, we'll put another one underneath just in case. Okay. It's kind of a cool one. All right, so we got some stuff on a napkin. Oof, the marker's smelly. I like it. All right, so we got this guy. Let's do this again on this other regular piece of paper. This time I've got a chisel tip Sharpie, so I might try and play with that a little bit here for a second. Okay, so there's that version. Regular Sharpie. And a pen. Cool. Good enough to get going on this. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to take my iPhone here and I'm just going to take pictures of these. So I could do this a couple different ways. I could try and crop it. I'm just trying to get it all in. And I've noticed if I hold it further back and then zoom in, you tend to get less shadows on it. So there's that photo. Here's the napkin. Cool. All right, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and airdrop these. All right, so select this guy, and then I'm gonna go ahead and airdrop it to myself. So you see it threw it down in the download stack. So I've got this photo, and I've got this photo. How's it going, guys? How's the chat? How's everybody doing? All right, so we've got these two photos here, kind of playing around with, oh, this is gonna be really cool. I actually like how these turned out, and we didn't even hardly do anything yet. So We'll come back and do some of this in an iPad as well. What's going up over on YouTube? Aaron, Aaron, thanks for watching. I see you. All right. So what we're doing now, whatever. We're working on signature logos, right? So basically, we're trying to come up with this look here. So just quickly sketched out this on my. Words are hard, guys. I'm sorry. It's getting late. On a piece of paper. Okay. So what I'm going to do, there's so many ways to work. So many ways to work. So we're just going to explore some different ways here. I'm going to go ahead and jump into Photoshop and let's just drag over, I don't know, both of them, I suppose. Do you guys want me to kind of explain what I'm doing as I do it, or would you rather just kind of watch it happen? I feel like I've taught this like 2 or 3 different times, and I feel like every time I do it a little bit differently. What's up, Robert? I see you. Let's see. All right, let's go ahead and make an adjustment here. Let's see. So Command L brings up my levels, kind of darken up the marker a little bit, bring up the mid-tone so I can kind of see some of this. All right, so many ways to work. Let's just get the lasso tool. I'm just gonna grab this guy first. We're gonna work with this one. Command J to jump cut it to its own layer. We'll turn this guy off. So now we've got this on the background. Let me show you what's going on though. Instead of it being a white background, let's just put like a different color so you can see that we still have white around it. So lots of things we could do here. We could get the magic wand tool, hit the letter W, come over here to the magic wand. Let's turn off contiguous. What that means is if I select a color, it has to be touching. So right now, if I click this, you'll notice anything inside. Oops, turn that on again. So like inside this L, it didn't get selected because it's not touching to the outside part that I selected. So if I turn this off, it just says, hey, anything in here that's white, select it. So we have a selection now, and I could make a layer mask on this. Let's invert this mask, Command I to invert it. Okay, it's not bad. It's not bad, but you'll notice it still has some of the white, it's not like it's transparent here. But that's one way to work. And then if you wanted to, you could drag this mask down and delete it, hit apply. And now instead of a mask, this is literally just the shape. We could clean this up a little bit, a couple different ways. I could get the eraser tool and start erasing away some of these little pixels, or I could get the lasso tool and start erasing some of these. If I didn't like them, hit the delete key. I could lock the transparency right here. This little tiny lock button on this layer. And now I could fill it with any color I want. So I could fill it with white, and it's just gonna fill where the pixels are because I locked it here. Or I could fill it with, honestly, any color I want. But you'll notice that texture that looked really cool goes away. So let's step back a couple things here. Let's go back to before we got rid of the mask. All right, deselect that. Now this time, instead of making a selection with my magic wand tool, I'm gonna double click on this layer and bring up my layer style window. And so under blending options, you've got this blend if sliders. And I love using these things. I use these all the time to have different layers interact with each other. So this layer, if it's light, I'm gonna scrub this to the left. As soon as I do, you see it kind of disappears. Next, to get it started, I'm gonna hold down the Option key on my keyboard and then click right here, and it's gonna split these into 2. And as I do that, I can scrub this pretty far left, and you'll notice that this is starting to look really good. And it might be difficult to see on stream, but basically we're getting a lot more depth. It's got transparency popping through on some of this. So I could push this much further if I wanted to. Kind of play around with it till you get something you're happy with. It's pretty good. And I'll click OK. Now, it's got a layer style applied to it, but it still sees... well, here, let me show you. If I add an effects to it, let's add a stroke to this. Instead of it stroking the shape, you can see that it sees where we made that selection to begin with. Well, that's not what we want. Let's cancel this. And to get this blend mode to go away and to just knock out those transparent pixels, I'm going to make a new layer above it. Command click both of them and then merge them together. So the shortcut's Command E. But if I come up here to layer and then go down to merge layers, it's going to merge these two layers into one. So that blend mode goes away. And now we're left with literally just these pixels. Okay. So what's neat about this is now we can come back through. Here, let me just jump cut this. Command J to make a second copy in case I ever want to come back to it. Now what we can do is lock this transparency again. And then now I can pick any color I want. And you'll notice that the details stay. So cool. So good. Let's, I don't know, just kind of playing around with it. So what I'm doing is selecting different colors. It makes it my foreground color. And then I'm just hitting Option Delete on my keyboard to quickly fill it. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. I love it. So now though, you'll notice if I zoom in pretty far, it gets pixelated. Well, this isn't going to work great for a logo because we're in Photoshop for one. So it's a raster image. So instead of it being vector art that's infinitely scalable, right now it's a raster image. So what we want to do is we want to turn this into a selection and then kick it over into Illustrator. And I might botch this because I've done this in the past. It's been a long time. And I feel like last time I did this, it took me a couple tries because anyway. So I'll take a moment to check in with the chat. How you guys doing? Hope you're good. Hope you had an awesome day. Let's keep going. All right, so I'm gonna make a selection. I'm gonna load this selection by hitting Command and then clicking on the thumbnail. So now I have a selection. All right, this is where it gets a little blurry for me. Let me try and think about this. I wanna make a path. Make work path. Okay, so what we got to do, so we command click to get a selection loaded. Okay, now select like a lasso tool, or in this case, I just hit the letter M to get the rectangle marquee tool. Any of the selection tools will work. So you have the option to right click and then go to make work path. Okay, let me look up here under the help menu and just see work path. So that's also under, oh, okay, that's not gonna work for what we're doing right now. That's just for type. All right, right click, make work path. Tolerance, I'll just leave it at the 2.0 pixels, click OK. And now it's a work path. So if I come over here to the paths window, which should be open or there by default, but if you don't see it, come over to window, go down to paths. And we see this work path. And I'm just gonna name it. I'm gonna double click to save this as a name. And let's just call it, oh geez, what would I wanna call this? I'm just gonna call it D. Mitchell. Signature logo. Call it whatever you want. Literally call it whatever you want. I'm just making stuff up. So now that we have that saved, let me see. We want to export this for Illustrator. So, excuse me. I'm gonna come over to File, down to, I think it's under export, but we're about to find out. Paths to Illustrator. Okay, so I'll click on that. And look at that. It sees this path as something we can export. So I'll click OK. And then let's save this. Oh, geez. I'll just do it on my desktop because I've got a million other things on there right now. D. Mitchell, signature, logo, Behance, sample or something. I don't know. All right. So now what I can do, I could save this file and come back to it later. What I like about this file specifically is that if I go back to my layers, I have all these other versions still kind of baked into this. If I turn off my paths just by clicking and deselecting, go back to my layers. I really liked this version where the ink had a lot more detail in it, like more nuance and opacities, right? If that makes any sense. Excuse me. I could save this as a version 2. So we're in Photoshop. Let's go ahead and hit Command S to save it. And also, we'll just throw it right on my desktop for now. Bad habits, but we're doing it anyway. All right. Looks good. We'll save it. Click OK. So now I have this to come back to if I want to. All right, so now what we're going to do is let's go over to Illustrator. And actually, let's go to the desktop and double click on that Illustrator file that we exported from Photoshop. I'll go ahead and click OK. And once it opens, let's give it a second here. It's thinking about it. You're going to go, what the heck? There's nothing here. Let's take a look at this. If I zoom out and well, there you go. You can see there's clearly something there. If I hit Command A, you can see there's a path here, but there's no color to it. There's nothing applied to it, no styles or anything. But I do love that all these anchor points came over. That's so cool. All right, so let's see if we get lucky. And by that, I mean, let's just fill it with a color. All right, so you see we've got some things to clean up. Some of these paths that didn't overlap, okay? So there's a few ways to work, and let's just kind of experiment and see what gives us the best result. So I'm gonna come up here to Window and go to my Pathfinder window. And let's go ahead and click on this one down here that says Divide. Let's just see what happens. Nothing, okay, Command Z to undo. How about this one? Trim. Nothing, okay. So what's interesting is the last time I did this, the exact same problem happened, and it took, for whatever reason, there it is. Okay, this one, exclude. So under shape modes, we want to click on the exclude button, and now it knocks out all those shapes. Okay, so now basically I've got one big logo here with one solid fill, and all I have to do is either click on a color swatch to fill it with a different color, or click on the foreground color and dial in something exact, you know, if I've got something I want to be. Or I could even jump over into the browser, open up a new window, and I have my homepage set to my website. So I remember to tell you guys that these live streams are sponsored by my courses. So if you'd like to learn more about what I do or how to be a graphic designer, check out my website at derekmitchell.com. I've got some resources here. There's some freebies. Check out this tutorials link. There's some really great tutorials if you guys want some tutorials that are right to the point, and some fun things in here. You can also scroll down and join my newsletter, name an email. I don't send out very many emails currently, so I'm not going to spam you, I promise. But I will send you a few freebies and a few resources once you sign up. And then also courses. So this is where I do have some more courses that are a lot more focused. Definitely check out the Graphic Design All Access Vault if you get a minute, or the Graphic Design Bootcamp. Check that out. It says $200 here, but if you go to click learn more, let's see what it does. Yeah, it says $200, but if you go to the homepage, right here, the Graphic Design Bootcamp, click buy now. It's on sale right now, you guys, for $20. Okay, so you can check that out if you want to learn more. Anyway, sorry, all the self-promotion. Honestly, I just hope you guys, if you want to learn more, check it out. So, all right, moving right along. What I was going to show you is if we go to, I love going to Behance. Behance is like my favorite place right now to get inspiration. So this is a great spot. And then also color.adobe.com we kind of played with a little bit on yesterday's stream as well. So come up here under color.adobe.com. You can go to trends. This is a really good spot to find things that are popular right now. Okay. So you could come in here and you could grab, colors that are inspiring. And I could click add to library and throw them right into my library and use them that way. Or I could click download as a JPEG and then bring this JPEG right into my file. Just drag and drop. And then if I wanted to, I could use this to sample colors with my eyedropper tool. I'm gonna hit Command H to hide all those anchor points. So it's still selected, you just can't see it. So you could use that as a way to bring in ideas for color swatches. Command H to bring those anchor points back. If I'm in Behance looking for ideas, same kind of thing. Like this is really cool, the Skull Collab series. Command Shift 4 to take a screenshot of it. Before I let go, I'm gonna hold down that Control key and then let go so it copies it to my clipboard. And then I can quickly paste that image in here. And now if I wanted to, I could sample colors from this. So lots of ways to work, but that's how you go about making a signature logo. I'm gonna go ahead and save this because it's cool. Save on your computer. Desktop, save, boom. All right, so that's all cool. If you guys wanna learn how to make logos with a Sharpie marker. Let's go ahead and jump into the iPad for a little bit. And I'm going to jump into the iPad Illustrator app. Excuse me. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and we're in Illustrator. I'm going to create a new document. And a lot of times I like to just leave it to the screen size. I'll click create file. Because we're in Illustrator, it's a vector file. So not that it doesn't matter, but it kind of doesn't matter what the file size is because it's all scalable, right? It's all vector based. Or at least what we're doing is going to be. Okay, so let's see. A couple things we could do here. We could, if we wanted to, save this file on the desktop. Let me jump back to the desktop for a second. Let me go down here. What's up? Yikes Factory. Today is going so well. Thank you so much. Mitch, that brings me back to my sports days when they called me Mitch or Mitchell. All kinds of nicknames for sports, really. Okay, so I'm going to save this. Go to File, Save As a cloud document. So this time I'm going to save this on the cloud instead of on my computer. And let's just smash it in there and click save. All right, so now back on the iPad, I can go back home and give it a second. Actually, let's delete this guy. And it syncs what we just made on the desktop with the Illustrator app, which is so cool. All right, new song. There we go. And you'll notice something interesting. If I go back to my desktop, can you tell what's different? So this green swatches JPEG that we downloaded, it's here in my download stack right there. When I brought it in, notice how this skull image is also a JPEG. Actually, it's a PNG. But notice how this one has a blue kind of X through it, and this one doesn't. Let's talk about that for a second. What that means is this JPEG image is linked. And this bottom one is not. This bottom one's actually embedded. So what happened is when I switched devices, my iPad doesn't know where that green JPEG file lives, right? It doesn't know how to find it. I don't even know if this document is even going to show it. it doesn't seem to even show it on here. So to fix that, I'm going to go to Window. And I'm going to come down here to Links. And now I can see any links in this document. So this one specifically, you can see that I have this format. It says it's a JPEG and it's a linked file. But what I can do, and I can even click on this little button that says go to link, and it's going to show me, hey, here's this image that you're looking at. So I can either relink it, I can go to the link, I can update the link, edit original, but what I want to do, I'm going to right click on here. Just kidding, that doesn't work. Let's go back to this. Oh geez. Sorry guys. There we go. Okay, so we've got the links window, and then over here on the right, we've got this tiny little hamburger menu. So it's 3 lines, right? Call them hamburger menu. I'm gonna click on this JPEG image. I'm gonna click on the hamburger menu, and I'm going to say embed image. So it's going to actually embed that image. And before I do that, jumping back over to the iPad, I'm gonna go ahead and close this so I don't have syncing issues. Embed the image. Now you'll notice those blue X's. Oh, you didn't see that. Let me step back so you can see that. It's got the blue X's through it. Come over here, go to the hamburger menu and click embed image. That blue X goes away. We can save this now and then jump back over to the iPad. You can see it's got the little blue circle in the bottom right of the document. So it's syncing. It just finished syncing. Now if I open this, now those swatches are actually in here. Okay, so I can start messing around with these if I wanted to. Just like any other vector asset. Okay. But let's say you want to do this from the iPad instead of the marker thing that we did. So lots of ways to work. What we're going to do is step back. Let's make a new document from my iPad. And then now what I can do is I could use the pencil tool, the brush tool, find a basic brush. Let's play with colors here and just so you can see the difference of what's going to happen here. So the brushes, you'll notice even though I put a fill on there, the brushes by default use a stroke, okay? So I could do my signature logo from here, and you can see it's got some really nice tapering settings, like depending on the length of the stroke, it kind of tapers it interestingly. So there's an idea. Could highlight all of this, and let's go ahead and group it together. Just move it over here, go back to my brush tool, let's try that again. Whoa, that didn't look good. Interesting. Okay, so this brush is kind of being a little weird for me right now. And I know it's just the settings, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. That's the pencil tool with a fill, so I could highlight all of these. Let's move this guy out of the way. I could swap it so it's just the stroke. Change my stroke size a little bit. So there's the pencil, not nearly as smooth. We'll go ahead and group it, move that over there. So you could start by immediately having a vector image. Oh, you know what else? I've got one more thing I need to show you guys. So let's jump back over onto the desktop for a second. I'm gonna go ahead and step back. So we've got this Untitled 16 document here. So if I jump back over onto the desktop, and then I come in the Illustrator app on the very top left, we've got the little house icon next to the minimize and close buttons here. And I come back to my work. Cloud documents. And there's those signatures I just made real quick on the iPad, already ready for me. And then they are. So now I can quickly jump in and push these further if I wanted to. Okay, now one more thing I want to show you. So we had these images down here from the Sharpie thing. So last time we brought them into Photoshop, we corrected them, did some things, and then brought them into Illustrator. Well, you can actually go right into Illustrator if you want. Okay, now you don't have, like in Photoshop, how we were able to really control how this looks with the transparency levels. It's going to be a little different in Illustrator, so let's take a look at that. Let's go ahead and throw in one of these files here. And it's an HEIC, which is like a high efficiency file format. It can't see it, it can't even open it. So I'm going to kind of cheat real quick. There's lots of ways you could do it. You could open this into Photoshop and export it as a JPEG. I could come into preview and I could save it as file save, or maybe duplicate, Command Shift S. And let's, oh, you know what? Actually, I need to go to export, not save as, go to export. And you can export it from an HEIC to a JPEG, okay? So that's one way to save it as a JPEG, but that's too many steps for me. Literally what I do whenever I get into this kind of stuff, I just take a screenshot. So Command Shift 4, click and drag, hold down Control, let go of the mouse, jump over here, Command V to paste it in there, and then I don't have to save nothing. I just quickly get it in, rotate it where I want it, maybe scale it up a little bit. And now we're in Illustrator. So now what I can do is with the Move tool selected, actually this is a selection tool in Illustrator, click on this, and then across the options bar, across the top, I've got this image trace button, okay? And if you don't see that, let's go to the help menu and type in trace real quick. I forget, I think it's under object. So you see that, it's under object, down to image trace, and then make. Now when you do that, it's just gonna trace it immediately, which is fine. It's actually not bad, look at that. Command Z to undo. When I click on image trace from here, there's a tiny little drop down next to it where I can kind of go through and refine, and there's some really cool options here you can play with, and it'll, whether it does multiple colors or a black and white logo, this is usually a great way to start with something like this. Click black and white logo, and it's going to convert it to literally black or white, which is a great place to start for a logo versus having like 16 colors. Okay. I'm going to undo that one more time and just show you if I go to like 16 colors, you'll notice all of the background, all of the different variations in the marker all get preserved, which might be cool depending on what you're trying to do. It takes a lot longer to do it. But when you're making logos, especially if it's going to be printed on a t-shirt where you might want to control only having one color, this is obviously not the way to go. Still thinking about it here. Oh my goodness. So it's done and it looks very realistic because of all the different levels of color. So if I'm all done with this, I can click this expand button up top here. And you can see it's just a ton of different anchor points. Okay, it's technically it's vector, just a bunch of different pieces. So we can do some cool stuff with this. This isn't a great, like I said, this is really not a good way to do this if you're trying to make like a real logo, but this is kind of creative looking. Look how fun that is. All right, let's step back, Command Z a bunch of times. Excuse me. I did not sleep very good last night, so I'm a little tired today. All right, so oh my goodness, it's taking forever. So that's that 16 color version, which does take forever, especially on a file like this. So let's let it finish what it's doing. It's gotta be almost done here. There we go. This time, what I'm gonna do is go to image trace. We'll go and I've got my black and white logo. But you'll notice if I hit the letter A, I can't modify this at all. So what we're going to do, oh my goodness, what we're going to do is click expand. Okay. And if I were to move this over off of the white canvas to the gray background, you'll see it's got all the extra white details in here. So I could click on that and delete it, but you'll notice it still has some garbage in here. Which, depending on what you're doing, actually kind of looks cool. So I could delete pieces of this if I wanted to. Come in here with the direct selection tool and delete some of it. That's kind of cool, depending on what you're going for. Maybe, you know, there's some fun ways we could use this. But I want it to be just a one color logo. So what I'm going to do, hit the letter A to select the white parts of this tracing. Then I'm going to come here to select. I'm going to select same, fill, and stroke. And I'm just going to grab all of the extra white pieces in here. I'm just going to delete them all. Okay. So now we're left with just the actual logo part of this. Okay. I'm going to hit Command G to make sure all of these are grouped together. Drag it down here. And now I can start changing colors and doing some fun things with that. And that's pretty much it. So that's most of what I was going to show you guys tonight. So if you have any questions, I'll hang around for a second. But tonight was a pretty straightforward stream, just showing you guys how to make those signature logos, how to make them on the iPad or trace them in Illustrator or make it with a regular marker. So I use this technique all the time for different things. It's a ton of fun. And that's pretty much it, guys. Pretty short and to the point. Lisette, I think I see you over on YouTube. You are welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Hope that was helpful. Man, every single night, Siri jumps in and like tries to talk to me on the streams. So I will be live again, I think tomorrow and potentially Friday. So the replays will be up after we're done here. If you guys missed anything, you want to go back through those steps and learn how we did that. The replays will all be up. You can catch me on Behance. You can catch me on Facebook and on YouTube and on Twitch. I'm all over the place. So the replays will be up right away. And if you want to make sure that you catch me next time as soon as I go live, whatever platform you want to go to, again, whether it's Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, or Behance, just like or subscribe. Follow me on Behance, and then I do a little post. So as soon as I go live, you guys will get a notice and you can jump in and ask questions right away. So that's the best way to stay in touch with me. If you want to catch me live, I don't really have a live streaming schedule because my work schedule is a little chaotic. So I go live whenever I can. Yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to bounce. I hope you had an awesome day, and I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. All right, guys, thanks for watching today. I hope you learned a lot of valuable information, and I appreciate you sticking around to the very end. But before you go, just a couple things I want to remind you. The first is, if you haven't already, feel free to like this video if you can, depending on where you're watching from. Give it a thumbs up or subscribe or tap the bell or give it a follow if you can. And also maybe even just copy the link up in the browser and share it with a friend or post it to your Facebook page. I'd really appreciate that. But again, just want to say thanks for sticking around, and I'd love to continue going live as much as possible and helping you guys out. So the best way that I can help you is by you commenting on the videos below. I read those comments. I engage with them as soon as I can, if I can, when I see them. So if it's live, I'll try and answer you right away. If this is a replay, you can still comment on the video, and I go back and I read those. So I just wanted to say thanks again for watching, and let me know what you're working on. I'd love to help you out, and hopefully we will see you in the next live. And to be sure you don't miss it, like this video and subscribe and follow and do the things. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later.